G'day, Chief. Welcome to the Inner Chief podcast and this special episode, which we call The Mini Chief. These are short, sharp highlights from our fabulous CEO guests, where you get a 5 to 10 minute snapshot of the highlights from their episode. Righto, Chief. Without further ado, here is the Mini Chief episode for this week with Brad Krauskopf, CEO and founder of Hub Australia. I was just thinking back to your thought around it's not just about work, it's the social, it's the creativity, it's the collaboration between people. People can go away and do the tasks of their job. Maybe they can do that from home reasonably effectively, but there's a place that will create that sense of high performance, and people are really yearning for that. I think on the back of perhaps a swing to work from home, not quite working as well as we hoped initially. So they need to be considering, how does the workplace serve that?
Exactly. And like most companies are not Amazon, and most companies are not Atlassian. So like on one side, you have one company saying, don't ever come to the office. And on the other one, it's, come to the office all the time. I don't know, most companies in the world are not those companies, and the kind of people that work at those companies are not most of the people in the world. So in that middle, there's a lot of different ways of working, and we've got to find out what is right for my company and for the people there. And if you think about it, the people coming to work, they might have to spend $10 on a tram, $50 for the car spot if you drove, $20 for lunch, $10 for coffee. By the time that person's come to work, it's cost them $50. So what is the experience I'm going to get by getting out my wallet and ultimately going into work for a day? Because I could just stay at home and my wallet could stay in my top drawer. So what's that experience that I'm expecting? And it's kind of like the expectations of my employer and a day of work and of my office, they just keep growing. And that's where we see that, again, that links back to where people come into to co-working spaces. Like, for instance, at Hub, we've got a welcome desk with a concierge. We've got a work well program, which brings all of these health and wellness things into the workspace. There's a lifestyle concierge, there's learning. So all of these different things, it's so hard to create all of that when actually I just need to get on growing my marketing business or growing my software as a service business. So it's that office, and the expectations of it have really grown to such a high standard that I'd also put to CEOs that you really need to think about, is the office actually something that I should now just outsource to somebody else? Just like I've outsourced my IT infrastructure, now I've got to a level of expectation that my people have that maybe I'm actually better off outsourcing my office and focusing on the core activities of my business.
So if we flip this question and say, what should they consider? What's the flip side to what CEOs, chief people officers considering that maybe they shouldn't be, maybe should be down the bottom?
Yeah. So look, I guess that first one is, when we think about offices, we think about, I need X square meters for Y number of people, or I need X desks for Y number of people. And it's the wrong way to be thinking about it. Of course, that is ultimately a big driver of the cost. But ultimately, you want to start with, what are the kinds of work that people are going to need to come together and work on to make my organization successful? So what are the types of activities, as opposed to the number of people or the number of meters? And also, we quite often, when you look at most P&Ls, particularly the type of P&Ls of companies that work from Hub, the single biggest cost on their P&Ls is almost always staff. And then what we do is we look for, how can we squeeze every last cent out of the workspace that we're asking these really expensive people to work from. So quite often we penny pinch on the office But really, the whole point of the office is to attract and retain all of those really expensive people, which is the most expensive item and the most important thing on my P&L, and of course for my organization. So let's think about how we can create a workspace experiences for those people. And that'll be a good starting point, rather than thinking just about the meters squared or the cost of it.
Here's a scenario for you, Brad. I'm going to give you a silver bullet.
Okay.
You get to change one aspect of workspaces around the world. Just one. Think of all the offices out there. What's one thing you would change?
All right. I'll give you one. If you like my answer, I'll give you two. And you can give me two.
Okay.
But first, the workspace should not be empty. Like, there's nothing more useless than an empty workspace. And so often what we've got now is that people are coming in for their one day at work and the office is empty. Or people are coming into, or you've got the CEO or the property department, and they're coming in, they're going, damn, this workspace is empty. I just need to shrink it, or why bother even having one? People are coming into the workspace because they want the social connection. You would have heard people talking about the loneliness epidemic. All of these things can be, the office is a key way that people solve these things. So let's not have empty workspaces. Another good reason to be going for co-working, because then you spread the risk of people coming in on a day when nobody else is in the office. You spread that across hundreds of different organizations and thousands of different teams. So there's a good chance that when you come into the workspace, there'll be other people there.
Okay. Second one.
We're seeing a lot of companies do what we call workplace window dressing. It's like people are saying that their office is something when it's not. Or, our culture is this, but it's really that. Or our workspace is amazing, but it's not. So people have a really good bullshit detector for this stuff. And if your office is not what the label says, people will see through that. And whilst you might convince the person to take the job, that's also the person that leaves you after 6 months. So trying to line up all of those different things is really important. And that'd be, if I had a second bullet, that'd be the other one that I'd get rid of.
Stop your crappy window dressing.
Indeed.
Yeah, right. Okay, so what would be one thing you would keep about offices around the world?
Okay, a cafe. So the one thing that I would keep at Hub, so it actually used to be, it used to be the member kitchen. So back when most of the customers and membership at Hub were 1 and 2 and 3 person businesses or startups or not-for-profits, the member kitchen was the most important thing. As we grew and we ended up with more employees coming into Hub from different businesses, i.e. our customer base is mostly, 5 to 30 person businesses. The cafe, and this is also even more so post-pandemic, that's that spot where you want to walk in the door and it's nothing worse when you get out of an elevator at a workspace and all you've got is some poor person sitting at a concierge desk and there's a big white wall behind them and there's nothing else going on. We deliberately make it that when you walk into a Hub, there's a noisy cafe, you can smell the coffee, there's a smiling person at a welcome desk, more like what you'd expect when you walk into a busy hotel lobby.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of buzz that you want to have when I come in. When I spent my $50 to decide to come to work for a day, rather than sit lonely at the kitchen table at home. That's the kind of experience that I want to have. So the most important element I think in the workspace is the cafe and that arrival experience.
Chief, there you have it for this week with our mini Chief episode. All the resources can be found at chiefmaker.com/363 Chief. Now, are you in need of an operating rhythm? An operating rhythm is that schedule of meetings. Actually, it's a bit more than that. It's a system, the drumbeat of your team. And what it will do if you get it right is it will create the culture, it will drive the results. It will bond the team together. It will handle risk, help you see around corners, create creativity. Embed the rituals and traditions of your team. There is so much that an operating rhythm can deliver when done right. So Chief, if you'd like to know how to do that, just get our full free resource on it. Just go to chiefmaker.com/operating rhythm, and there is a detailed PDF there with all the hows and whats and whys, some of the pitfalls, and an example schedule for you to follow. chiefmaker.com/operating rhythm, and create the drumbeat for success in your team. And if you would like to stay in touch and hear all about some of the best resources that you can find anywhere in the world to improve your performance at work, go to chiefmaker.com/subscribe. Now, Chief, if you're yet to rate the episode and subscribe, I hope you'll do so soon. It helps others see the magnificent value that the chiefs and gurus bring to their life and career. So make sure you hit subscribe on your podcast app now, give it a 5-star rating if you think it's worthy, and leave a short review about your favourite episode. Righto, Chiefs, as always, remember to stay epic.